Which brings us to fillers, because we haven't talked about fillers yet, and that's sort of intentional. I'm going to go on record and say I'm not a big fan of fillers in general, even though I personally do use them. I hate when I use them because I'm like, I'm not sure that pumping all this stuff in my face is actually good long term, but I understand the need for it in certain areas. But I don't love them. I don't love fillers. I don't love them.
Well, do you love fat? Would you rather fat graft?
Yeah, I'm plus minus on fat. I think as in terms of the safety profile, I think fat's much better. I don't think that you're going to get the same results from fat that you can get from filler.
No, fillers are much more structurally sound and can
It'll definitely
do things.
Fill things up.
Right.
They really aren't going to do anything from an anti-aging standpoint. I don't think that they provide any long-term preventative or therapeutic benefit, but they do treat problems as they arise.
Yeah, thin lips, which can be a sign of aging.
Thin lips, the sign of aging. Certainly,
deep folds.
When you start to get into like your mid-30s, that's when you are going to see descent of the soft tissues of your face. This is where cheek fillers are really helpful, and some nasal labial fold fillers. I do all of these. I've done them in the past. I understand why they're necessary. I just think you have to be very judicious with how much you use them and understand that these fillers don't come without inherent risks and some long-term risks that we don't entirely understand yet.
Nope.
We definitely see patients come back with allergic reactions to fillers, infections from fillers, weird immune responses to fillers that can happen years after they've been placed.
Yep.
So that's why I say I like them, because I understand why they are good and what they can do for you, but you have to understand that there is a risk with them and just sort of weigh your own personal risk benefit.
But they are, for the most part, very well tolerated. They're made of, the sugar protein components of cartilage, like the hyaluronic acids, I think, are really safe, but it doesn't mean that you can't be allergic to the preservative or that some other additive or
some way that they've been tweaked. Yeah.
So it can be an issue. So, but needless to say, I like fillers. I like fat too. I think fat has an added benefit of a stem cell transfer of some kind that probably helps rejuvenate the skin, makes your skin look fresher. So fat is helpful. I like PRP. I think PRP is helpful, where you draw some blood, spin down the plasma, and inject the plasma into the face. That is a really nice procedure. Does it turn back the clock like a facelift? Absolutely not. Does it make the skin maybe look a little healthier? Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, it's like a very aggressive facial, basically. PRP. Is it going to really do a whole lot anti-aging? I don't think we know, but probably doesn't hurt. It's one of those things.
No, the best anti-aging moves are the things we're talking about, where you're, obviously with the lasers that moves the needle.
Yeah,
it does. Period. End of story.
So now we're getting to the fun age.
So now, you're coming up on 40,
late 30s. This is my game here. And so, what are your options now?
That's right. So, what do you do, Millicent? I mean, you tend to know before you need to do something, you do it, because you're always on the front end of the curve.
Yes, and
that's why you look like this.
Yes,
it's very key.
So this is where you're going to need to get a little more aggressive with your treatments. And this is where surgery might be an option. And this is where more aggressive energy devices might be an option.
Yes.
So let's start with that. So let's talk about more aggressive energy devices, mainly because the impetus for this podcast was a procedure I had done earlier this week, which is called FaceTight. So there's FaceTight, and then it's, Buddy is BodyTight. And both of these are devices that use radiofrequency technology to, again, stimulate collagen. But this technique is done in a more invasive fashion. So it's really only done by surgeons or people that know how to do surgery, because you actually make an incision through the skin, you tunnel what they're called cannulas, which are kind of long, thin, rounded needle-type devices under the skin through the subcutaneous tissue or fat, and you first numb it up with a numbing solution, and then once the numbing solution's had an effect, then you go in and you apply this energy device under the skin. In a lot of ways, it's similar to the Renuvion that we've talked about, but sort of just a different way of applying it. But by going under the skin, you can turn up the energy a lot, because you don't have to worry about burning the skin. When you apply radiofrequency technology